and that red are mixing here. That is that rotation that we're watching as it continues to drift north and east here. So again, folks in Loudoun County, you're under it right now. As it gets over into Montgomery County, we're going to have to continue to monitor it as it drifts off to the north and to the east here. So it is north of, I believe that's the Dulles Toll Road there, Virginia 7, but it is getting into some of these neighborhood streets up here where folks certainly live. Old Waterford Road, this is going to cross right over you here very, very shortly. So you want to make sure you're seeking shelter if you're in the path of this. And then let me get you this updated in case it is. They just went ahead and updated this event. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Still up until 7 o'clock. Radar indicated rotation, meaning that we do not have any confirmation that there is a tornado on the ground. But we do see that radar indicated rotation, and we certainly have been showing it to you off of that radar there at Dulles Airport. Again, you can pretty clearly see where those winds are swirling there on Storm Tracker radar here. Mostly north of the city of Leesburg, but Martinsburg there, that's not Martinsburg, West Virginia. That is Martinsburg in Montgomery County. We want folks there that have the heads up. This is heading in your general direction. Poolsville, if it stays on its current track, it should miss you to the north, but stick with us. We'll keep you up to date on exactly how that is pushing, but you see there, Martinsburg, you have until about 6:49. It's about 10 more minutes here before it's right on your doorstep. So we want you to take proper precautions and again, get yourself into a safe place and allow this storm to pass. This has been one of several tornado warnings. It's been a very active day. And again, it hasn't necessarily been a day where there has been any sort of strong rotation or strong tornadoes coming through, but we have had these very brief, very quick spin-ups, exactly like you're seeing right here. And this has been one of the more well-defined ones coming out of Loudoun and again, heading for the Potomac River and about to cross into extreme western portions of Montgomery County here. Likely within the next 15 minutes or so, given the pace that this storm is moving at. So if you see this map, you're within the purple box, certainly seek shelter while you can. Barnesville, you're not in it right now, but you would be on the doorstep should they reissue. If this rotation happens to hold together, they could reissue this a little later on down the line. So we'll continue to watch it as it drifts towards, again, Loudoun County, heading over towards the Montgomery County line here very, very shortly. Let's jump back over the radar, and you can see there's a lot of lightning and thunder. Again, you can see almost within where there's a kind of a gap within the precipitation field. Right in there would be if there is a funnel or if there is a tornado, that would be where it would be. So folks who live up that way, that is the area of greatest concern right now. There is Leesburg down to the south. So the primary area right there, downtown Leesburg, should be okay. This is passing off to your north. But for folks who live within this area right here, and I'm going very in tight, because I want to be able to pull up some of the street names for you guys, because I know that that does help for folks who live there. Give it a minute, let it load on in. But you can certainly see that there is well-defined rotation. I mean, that's probably the best that we've seen out of any of the storms issued here today. And there we go, just got an updated loop in, and it appears to have weakened just a little bit there, but certainly seeing some winds that are rotating within this storm, just like that right there. So for folks who live within that area, we're going to continue to keep you posted as this moves itself eastward into extreme eastern portions of Loudoun County. South of Waterford there, south of Luckett's in Loudoun County as well. Again, this area starting to get over into very suburban Loudoun County. Go ahead and put the latest tracker on it. That's the area of the storm I'm most concerned with as it continues to push off to the east. Martinsburg continues to be the only town that's really popping up. That is Martinsburg, Montgomery County, not Martinsburg out in West Virginia there. 6:51 p.m. is now the time it's giving you folks out there. So make sure if you're within the path of the storm or you live within this purple box in eastern Loudoun and extreme western portions of Montgomery County that you are seeking shelter ahead of this storm. Again, it is that area right here. And, you know, I'm not getting the streets to pop up for me here, but we'll certainly try and fix that here in just a moment. But that is the area along that storm where we are seeing the best indications of rotation as this cell continues to push itself off to the east here. We'll go back to the Dulles radar. It's got the best sampling of it as it's just off to the south of where this storm is. And a lot of times, this is the longest line of thunderstorms that has continued to initialize here over the last 20 to 30 minutes. We've really kind of seen this second batch blown up. And on the bottom side, you can get this extra little turning of the winds that we're seeing. And that's indeed what we are seeing with that tornado-warned cell that is, again, coming out of Loudoun County. And just about, go ahead and pull it back up for you here. And you can really clearly see those brighter colors right here. This is the area that we would be most concerned with some of that rotation, winds moving towards and away from the radar, counterclockwise spin right here as it continues to push off. So sort of towards the northern edge of this warning box would be that area that we would be most concerned with. And you can see that they just updated the warning to kind of define the box, and they are following very closely that area of spin as it continues its journey towards the Loudoun-Montgomery County line. So folks, again, in that area, Martinsburg, I know it's more towards the northern portions, but we want you to take shelter. We want you to be safe. Today's been one of those days where we have seen, and they're likely going to confirm a tornado up near Boonesboro that dropped very, very briefly. But that's what happens in these types of situations. It can dip down very quickly, go on the ground for a few yards or so, and then go back up into the clouds. Often happens with these types of situations here. So again, it is that area right here, northern portions of this warning box, extreme eastern portions of Loudoun County, just about to cross over the Potomac into western portions of Montgomery County. And so far that warning is expected to go for the next 15 minutes unless they see more signs that it is going to be a cell that's going to continue to weaken. Right now, certainly a lot of wind being outputted by that storm. Folks, do be careful if you're trying to get out and about. Maybe avoid doing so until this storm has passed. It does extend farther to the north across Montgomery County as well, goes all the way up to Frederick and a little beyond. So folks traveling this evening along I-270, you're getting soaked here. Clarksburg, Gaithersburg, we're going to keep a very close eye on this cell because if it does hold together, it'll get over towards Germantown probably within the next 30 minutes or so. So let's go ahead. We'll do a track for you here. So this is the part of the cell that is most concerning. It's drifting a little bit off to the north and to the east there. So Martinsburg, you are within the warning. We continue to watch for you about 6:52, 6:53. By 7 o'clock, the warning is expected to expire, but if it is allowed to continue, Jonesville will be in it. Barnesville would be in it, Sidwell would be in it, and then Germantown would be in it as well. So all areas that we would have to continue to watch as this storm drifts off to the east. Again, the best tool we have to track rotation for you is this. This is what we call velocity. It just shows us what the winds are doing within the storm. The area of rotation certainly tight and not as well defined as it was about 5-6 minutes ago. But this is certainly the area of the storm that they're most concerned with here, off on the northern edge of that box as it starts making its way off to the east towards that Montgomery County line. So let's go weigh in. We'll see if any of the streets are popping up for folks who live out in that general area. Looks like the data's just lagging just a little bit. So we'll hold off on that, keep you on a wider view. Switch back over the radar for you and show you certainly a decent amount of lightning and thunder out of this cell. We'll go over and show you about 5-6 strikes reported. And in fact, I'll give you an update here. They have, and I'll go back over to the warning. You see that white box around it? That means they have confirmed a tornado on the ground with this one. So confirmed tornado producing damage here. Weaker variety, but still, doesn't matter. Weak or strong. We want everybody to take caution, but they have gone ahead and observed this tornado. And that is that very small area of rotation that we had showed you out in west or eastern portions of Loudoun County. So folks, please do take this seriously as it drifts off to the east here. We want folks in Montgomery County to be aware as you guys are next here very, very shortly. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Sorry.
You know, Mike, I think that this is confirmed based off of radar. It's interesting. I'll let you read in the chat what they're saying based on this tornado warning. They're confirming it based on data pulled from the radar. So I'm a little unclear as to whether there's actually been a spotted tornado. It doesn't seem that there has been, but at the National Weather Service, they have enough confirmation based on radar, it seems, signature to say that there's a tornado.
And my guess is going to be because they're taking it off of Dulles right there. I'm trying to pull, and I don't want to get too complicated for folks at home, but I was trying to see if we were getting any debris signature off of the radar from that.
I'm not sure because nothing's been spotted, but perhaps the rotation is enough. I've never seen them do this, that they can confirm the tornado, but take a look and see. The actual language is over eastern Loudoun County, just north of Leesburg, updated to a radar-confirmed tornado based on the rotational velocity signature. And you've been showing that, Mike,
So,
the couplet on velocity.
And it had gotten pretty tight there for a little bit. I was trying to pull up what we call a correlation coefficient just to see if we were seeing any sort of, that's how we can tell if there's debris, something that's not rain or air. If there's leaves or dirt in the atmosphere, the radar is able to tell us that. Right now, this is the area of rotation. It's not, and you see, just as I point that out, they go ahead and update the warning to kind of tighten it up. And Caitlin, on that new update, did they continue to say it was an observed tornado there?
It looks like it. I mean, they haven't said per se, but I'm sure if they're updating it, it still has that white box around it, or in the case of what you have up,
right.
It's confirmed based on rotational velocity signature.
So likely what happened out of the Dulles radar there just to the south, they saw some debris in the air, likely sticks, leaves, dirt, something that the tornado was bringing up from the ground there that they likely saw. And that's why they've gone ahead and confirmed that. And look, it only may have happened for a few seconds, but that's all it takes to cause some damage. And that's why we want folks to take extra precaution. That is the rotation, and it's getting awfully close here to coming out of Loudoun County and going over towards Montgomery. So there you go. New scans coming in every minute off of this radar. And as we continue to track this system, let's go ahead and push it off to the north and east here, and really struggling to pull up communities in this part of the area. I know not as many folks, certainly not as populated as the Leesburg area, but we do want folks who live north of Martinsburg here certainly got to exercise caution. And if you're anywhere within that warning zone, you certainly want to make sure that you're getting to the lowest level of your house, interior portions of your house, away from windows, doors. Allow this storm to pass, which it should do so relatively quickly. It is a pretty fast-moving storm system.
I think you have to switch back to the storm tracker radar to get down to the street level, Mike.
Yeah, let's go ahead then.
You've got to go back to the other type of radar that we look at. So we look at several different radars here, and some of them are coming out of different sites, but only this one has the street level. So now we can get down into the communities.
So we can go in. So near Temple Hall Lane and near Limestone School Road. That is that, and it's certainly not as strong as it was 10 minutes ago. But this is that area of weaker rotation, just about to cross over Temple Hall Lane there, Limestone School Road. You would be next up, and this is within the next minute here. So certainly if you live in those areas, seek shelter as this part of the storm passes overhead. Again, it's not as well defined as it was just a little bit ago, but it continues to be at one time. They have taken away the observed, so they're no longer seeing that debris get airborne here. But this area that does have the red box around it, tornado warning continues until 7 o'clock. So for the next 8 minutes here for this storm as it comes out of Loudoun County and starts getting over into Montgomery County. Does have a history of at least confirmed debris in the air with it, and then they'll eventually send out survey teams to try and figure out whether or not we're going to see any sort of ground confirmation or not. But right now, again, if we backed it up, certainly stronger couplet, stronger rotation back when it was just north of Leesburg. Right there, excellent look at that couplet and at that rotation, but you can see, in fact, right there was probably at its strongest, but it has weakened just a little bit as essentially these storms, they produce a lot of what we call outflow. The storm, as it rains, as it thunderstorms, it's cooling the atmosphere around it, and that can help disrupt the organization within these storms as they try to push off to the east. So there is the latest on the overlay right here. Certainly a strong thunderstorm coming just north of Leesburg. Poolsville, you're about to get absolutely hammered with heavy, heavy rain and certainly some thunder and lightning. But as for the tornadic portion of this cell, and it looks like they just went ahead and updated it. So they have gone ahead, it looks like, and extended that tornado warning off to the east. So we're going to be sticking with you here now until 7:30 p.m. Frederick, Loudoun, and parts of Montgomery County. So you guys have all been extended, and they did do this. This is the same thing that they did north of Baltimore earlier today. Given the history of that thunderstorm and the rotation within it, they've gone ahead and say, hey, we want folks in this area to shelter just in case as this line comes across, it decides to drop a quick and weak tornado. But folks, now Germantown, I believe you're just outside of it, but we want you guys to pay attention as this comes across. Damascus, you're just outside of it, but we want you to pay close attention because these storms are heading in your general direction. So let's go ahead back to this tornado warning, and you can see the differences between it. And you can also see that the storms off to the north here are starting to rotate. So I know it's a lot of colors on your screen, but let's break it down for you pretty simply here, right? There's a line of thunderstorms that's coming out of Loudoun County. It's pushing into southern portions of Frederick County up here and northern portions of Montgomery County right here on the center of your screen. It certainly at one time likely had a brief weak tornado on the ground within this portion of the cell. However, they've started to notice that a few of these.
And you can see some clear funnel clouds. It's in the chat if you want to take a look and just take a break from talking for a second. But the tornado warning, I think, extended. I don't know if you can pull the chat up there or not, but there's at least visual confirmation, not of a tornado on the ground, but what looks like funnel clouds over Owings Mill, Maryland. So probably reason for extending and expanding that
It looks
warning.
like, oh, no, never mind. Almost spoke too soon. I thought I saw the box go down, but
It might have been the initial one.
it may
yeah.
be, now the initial one's still
it's
hanging
still
out there for a moment, but I certainly see what they're doing here. As you definitely have several areas of broad rotation within this line of storms going through. And essentially what's happening, there's a warm front draped across our area, and that warm front is where the wind is shifting directions. It's going from a more easterly direction to a more southerly direction, and that is almost kind of kicking these storms a little bit. That's allowing them to get an extra boost in their spin. Several areas here, again, there's a storm on the northern flank, there's a storm on the southern flank here, and there's one in between where there's a little bit of rotation within each of these cells that could potentially put down a tornado at any second. As we mentioned a few moments ago, we did see a storm that up north of Baltimore that they did this same sort of warning with. Most of this is all on the Montgomery County side as far as I'm concerned from what I'm seeing on radar. I think this is all coming out of Loudoun County. Of the three cells, the one down closer to Poolsville looks the strongest on radar. That being said, up near Barnesville, there's another heavy cell, and then just about to cross over 270 near Thurston in southern portions of Frederick County in Maryland, there's another pretty strong cell that's going to go right across 270 here very shortly. So Montgomery County drivers, look, if you're about to leave the city and head northward on 270, forget about it. Give it another half hour. This cell will continue to drift off to the north and east here, and it'll clear things out for you on 270. But I would not, north of Germantown right now, or north of Rockville, honestly, I would not want to be driving on 270 as this comes across. Very, very heavy rain, some lightning and thunder, sure, and occasionally you'll get one of these spin-ups that could potentially put down a tornado. So folks, continuing to monitor this extreme southern Frederick County in Maryland, and now mostly northern portions and northwestern portions of Montgomery County in Maryland. This tornado warning goes until 7:30 this evening. So for about the next 32 minutes, we are under this tornado warning cell. I'll show it to you here, just kind of the blanket coverage of it. Leesburg, now you're mostly out of it. Again, these storms are kind of crossing the Potomac as we speak. Folks in Poolsville, Barnesville, seek shelter. We want you guys in either your basement, the interior portions of your home, until these storms have been allowed to pass. We're not trying to scare anybody with these warnings. We know we often get them here during these situations, and not all the time folks take them seriously. We still want you to take them seriously. All it takes is one brief tornado to cause a lot of damage. That's why we do these warnings for you. All of this pushing off to the east at a steady pace. These will be fast-moving storms as they come across northern portions of Montgomery County. They did just go ahead and issue an update on the warning. We'll go ahead and show that to you here. That may have been the one north of Baltimore, actually.
Yeah,
that's got
it was.
extended.
It's the Towson warning.
Right. So ours remains here in Montgomery County again until 7:30 p.m. And I'm going to continue to go off the Dulles radar. It's got the best sampling. That one just expired, and I have to mention here, you are now watching Fox 5 News at 7 p.m. Fox 5 local news here as we continue to track these tornadoes as they're pushing off to the north and to the east at a steady pace. So several areas of weaker rotation on the northern edge of this tornado warning. This one down to the south has an interesting look to it. Let's zoom in on that one near Poolsville. And this may actually be I would say this would be the most concerning one of all the cells that we have in right now. You got winds that are pushing away. You got winds that are pushing towards the radar right there. So that's a decent couplet. That would be right near River Road, extreme western portions of River Road there in Montgomery County, Maryland. So did just get an update. That is another tornado warning now that is off to the north. We're getting a number of them here this afternoon. So that one is up in Frederick County, Maryland. Let's take you to that one. That's just off to the east of Frederick, and that is this couplet right here. So now, folks, stay tuned with us as we're tracking several of them for you. This couplet right here in extreme western or eastern portions of Frederick County in Maryland, that is a tornado warning cell that also goes until 7:30 p.m. So, folks in Johnsville there, we want to give you the heads up that that couplet looks like it's heading right for you there in Johnsville. So please take shelter or seek shelter if you happen to be in the path of this storm. We'll go ahead and get a look at this for you. It's moving off to the north and to the east at just about 20 miles per hour. So Daysville there, you're right. It's going to be right on top of you here shortly. So folks in Daysville, seek shelter right now. Johnsville, you would be next up at about 7:12. Clemsonville, if it holds together, about 7:15. And then 7:18 for folks up in Union Bridge. They are not in Union Bridge. You're not in the warning area just yet. That's Carroll County. But you could be if they decide to go ahead and extend this warning. So let's go back down to this one in Montgomery County. Again, several areas of weaker rotation within this. There's a few up here in the north, one here, and then the one that's most concerning to me, just as I jump in on radar, is this one on the southern flank. And this is the same storm that at one time, looks like they just kind of confined the tornado warning just a bit, mostly still for folks in Montgomery County, still until 7:30 p.m. Does include portions of Frederick County, extreme southern, like right along the border there, southern Frederick County, and extreme, just a sliver of Loudoun County right near the Potomac River there. But this is the area right now, south of Martinsburg near Elmer in Montgomery County. This is the area that has, my attention right here, this swirl. This would be an area where we would really look to see if something doesn't quickly, briefly touch down with a rotational signature like this. This is going to continue and maybe work its way over towards Poolsville very, very quickly here. So Poolsville, we've been on the air here for about the last 15, 20 minutes, giving you a heads up. Hopefully you're seeking shelter. Let this storm pass. These are moving off to the north and to the east at about 20 miles per hour as well. So this entire line, or this section of the line, and I see a little velocity kick up there, which means there may be something trying to drop. So make sure that you're seeking shelter here. Poolsville, you have just about 5-6 more minutes. The sooner the better. Jonesville, 7:11. Johnsonville, that will be 7:15. Buck Lodge at 7:18, and then Burdett at 7:21 p.m. All these locations in Montgomery County for you. Caitlin, do you want to hop in? Are you seeing anything in the chat?
Of course, yeah. So we have the two warnings now, the dual warnings, the one in Frederick County and then the one down in Montgomery County. And the one in Frederick County, I don't know, kind of looks like one of those earlier ones where the rotation isn't very significant. But certainly the one that you're tracking down in Poolsville, that's the one where it was at least briefly confirmed based off of radar signature. Like you said, perhaps some debris lofted in the air and picked up on radar. And from there, so Mike's pointing out the two warnings. I'll just step in for a minute and show them. So these dual warnings are both part of the same line of storms, and they're both moving off to the east. And there is one still active north and east of Baltimore. This one, less impressed with the rotation. This one, though, a little bit more so. And it does account for a good chunk of western Loudoun County and getting into northern Montgomery County, and it's very close to the radar beam, but you can see, as Mike said, that swirl, the difference with the red and green, indicating winds moving towards and away from the radar, which is indicative of rotation. So perhaps around the Poolsville area, as we continue to get more updates with these tornado warnings.
And that's the one north of Baltimore. So we'll stick on this one.
Baltimore. So we've had a busy day. I mean, the first warning came out at 2:45, and that was for Charles County, a different line of storms. But this line, which started with a warning for a storm that came out of Shepherdstown, West Virginia, continues to produce along the warm front several cells. And you're looking at a live view of 270 at the moment on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And wet roads, yes, but 270, they are right in the path of this tornado-warned storm. So it is firmly over Barnesville, Poolsville, western Montgomery County, lovely, more rural part of the county before you get towards more of that gridlock over 270. But this is where it's headed. So not the time to leave your house and get on the road of 270 or at all if you're in this path of the storm. But places like Clarksburg, places like Damascus, Germantown, Gaithersburg, you are all in the path of this tornado-warned storm, even if you're not within the warning itself, like Gaithersburg is not. But they're close enough to the warned storm that you do want to take shelter, because this storm, this one over Poolsville, has kind of showed the maybe the best signature of rotation, Mike, I guess, that we've seen so far this afternoon.
I would say so. When it was up
Down
north of Leesburg as well, it looks like we
Yeah.
got another update. That is for the one in Frederick County.
So this is this one in Frederick County, which was most recently issued. It was just issued at 7 p.m. And that one does include, I believe, Newmarket, Maryland, just south of Union Bridge. So that's a smaller size tornado warning which is embedded within this line of showers and thunderstorms and doesn't look maybe as significant as some of the other ones, certainly not on rotation when we put on the velocity tracker. But either way, these are the two active tornado warnings we're following as they push off to the east. The one to the south, maybe more significant, and that's about to cross 270. And they're almost like going to meet up over parts of Frederick and Montgomery counties, in between 270 and 70 right there. So Damascus is kind of right in the middle. And so far, we've had, yes, some photos coming through of what looks like perhaps some funnel clouds over Owings Mill, and then perhaps some like lowered clouds, wall clouds, if you will, that you usually see in a rotating supercell. So those would be more indicative of the rotation within some of these storms. And this is the velocity pattern right now. And it has really only looked to the best in the southwest corner of that warning over near the Poolsville area as this came out of Loudoun County and is getting more into Montgomery County. So two tornado warnings that we're following. At this hour, they both go until 7:30 p.m., one over parts of Montgomery, another over parts of Frederick. There is a third warning near Baltimore, but that's out of our jurisdiction. So we'll just deal with what's overhead right now. So the velocity tracker, as we kind of expand, really was showing maybe a better signature earlier over the Leesburg to Poolsburg area.
And I'll let you know that they did say that the National Weather Service employee did confirm a funnel cloud north of Leesburg when that storm was coming across. So that's when it went observed for that period of time.
Okay, great. And so that would now look at 270. As you can see, our camera in 270. Right near the Barnesville exit. So that's on the bottom right-hand side of your screen right there. That's right near the Barnesville exit, and it is pouring, of course, because the heart of the storm is over them. Here is the storm that we're following. It is crossing 270. You can see in your camera, it is pouring over 270. It has been such an active day. It remains a very active night with these tornado warnings in effect. And this warning for this cell, which has showed the best rotation coming out of Leesburg towards Poolsville. So you're crossing from Loudoun in Montgomery, you're moving across the Potomac, and there have been confirmation of what looks like some funnel clouds and perhaps debris associated with what could have been a tornado, what maybe likely was. And there's the velocity signature right there that was coming out of Elmer, I believe you had mentioned earlier, Mike, and Martinsburg. So
and just to the south of Poolsville right now would be the most concerning area there. You know,
just south and west.
This area right here where those two colors are meeting, that would be the issue, or that would be the area of concern. So we'll go way in. This would be right near Westerly Road here. So the southern suburbs of Poolsville, just about to go over Route 107 there in Montgomery County. So folks here, we want you to please continue to seek shelter. Let's go ahead and do a tracker for you. It continues to move off to the north and to the east at about 20 miles per hour. So if it holds together, like Germantown, we gave folks in Poolsville a good solid 20-minute warning here. Folks in Germantown, old Germantown, this would be heading in your general direction if it happens to hold together. So 721 for Boyd's, and then 723, we want folks, and you see that really bright signature here. That's that, and this happens, again, that low-level wind field right there. Sometimes it kicks up quick, a very fast spin up, and the tornado kind of ropes out quickly touches down, and then the whole mesocyclone kind of weakens. And you see they went observed on it,
There we
Caitlin.
go.
So they have at least had enough radar indicated signature to it that they've gone ahead and observed it. And that's likely happening right as we speak. So folks in Poolesville, I certainly hope you're taking shelter, because that likely means that the radar is picking up some airborne debris, and that is why they've gone ahead and put an observed tornado down for folks in western Montgomery County. Germantown, heads up. This is drifting in your direction. This is going to cross right over 270, should stay just to the north of Rockville. You are not included in this warning, but for folks a little farther up 270, certainly have your guard up, and most concerning would be that cell on the southern side of it as this continues to work its way off to the east at about 20 miles per hour. There's more from I-270. You can see the rain. It looks like traffic's thinned out just a little bit. But yeah, right there. Caitlin's got a great view of it. Southern Poolesville, where this wind is wrapping around towards the radar, and then it's quickly trying to accelerate away. This would be, if there was a tornado, and they have gone observed on this, likely due to radar data, that is where the tornado would be, quickly trying to push off across Route 107, and then north of Dawsonville there. That is Route 28 in Maryland. This is going to cross right over here very, very shortly. So, Boyd's, you would be in its path here a little while down the line, about 7:20. You got about 9 minutes warning in Boyd's. And then Old Germantown, about 7:22 here. So just about 10 minutes away as this storm continues to push itself off to the east.
Yeah, it was the tight circulation observed to the northeast of Leesburg. And as you mentioned, they have upgraded the tornado warning to a confirmed signature based off of radar through Poolesville. So,
right. So that's that
radar
tightening of the velocity data that we're seeing. So
which we can see. So right over Poolesville, I just had it up. I can go back to it. So it was that signature that we just showed. This is going back over the last hour. Let me go the last 15 minutes. Is that signature that we just showed, and that is what made them confirm the tornado warning. So now...
And I think they're seeing it best on that radar out of Dulles there. So out of the IAD terminal, certainly seeing it. It looks like we just got another one. That's likely an update on one of the ones up to the north.
Yeah.
That's that Baltimore County worry. We love you up in Baltimore, but we're going to focus on the D.C. folks at the moment. Montgomery County, just south of Poolesville. And you can almost see it on radar where that rain is trying to wrap around. Some of the heavier rain is trying to wrap around the backside of this rotation as it's going through. So Poolesville, it is right on top of you. Certainly hope you're seeking shelter here. Jonesville, you folks as well, as it continues to drift itself off to the east. It would be right over Westerly Ave and continuing to push up here to the north and to the east. Going to pass just to the south of Jonesville there and continue its journey north and the eastward here.
Yeah, it's moving at about 15 to 20 miles an hour, and that would be where it is, right near Jonesville. So if it holds together, these are some of those communities in the path, and this is a confirmed tornado based off of radar. So if you are in these communities, you do want to take shelter and take this serious. I know we've had a lot of tornado warnings today, but this seems to have produced a tornado. So it looks like it on radar. It looks like it on velocity signature. Jonesville, Buck Lodge, Germantown, you are all within the path of the storm, so take shelter. Do not head out. Get to the lowest level of your home or your basement. This is bearing down on you and moving to the east, and will be overhead within the next 10 to 15 minutes. That warning does go until 7:30.
Yeah, unless something drastically changed. But this
Right.
this rotation has been, it's been weakening and then strengthening. Weakening and pulsating, essentially,
Yeah.
is what this storm's been doing. So real good look at it right there. You see winds going towards and then away from the radar. That spin right across Route 107 right now. And again, drifting itself off to the north and to the east here. So Dawsonville here, shortly, it's going to be right over you. And then it's going to continue its way off towards, let's see, what is that, Maryland 118, Maryland 117?
Yeah, it's about to cross 107, Route 107, and head towards, it looks like, Route 117 in Maryland. So these are some smaller routes right west of 270. You know, it's kind of bearing down on 270 as it crosses over these more rural routes.
But folks in Germantown, you guys have
Yeah.
been in it now for about the last 15, 20 minutes. We've been trying to give you the heads up. up, if this continues to hold together, Germantown, maybe some of the northern Gaithersburg suburbs, you'll have to watch out as this storm continues its journey. Again, at the in fact, they've just gone ahead, and I believe that's a considerable tornado warning now, which means they have seen or they have gotten in some reports of damage then, without a doubt. They're only going to go considerable if they have that. So this is a big deal. We want everybody paying attention at home. If you live anywhere within this box in particular, a considerable tornado warning just issued for western, getting into central portions of Montgomery County. And I think if we move that warning over just a bit, this goes until 7:45. We're not going anywhere. We're sticking with you right through this. Gaithersburg, you are basically included. So we want folks to take shelter because that rotation is drifting right off towards your general direction. So folks in Gaithersburg, please seek shelter as this tornado makes its way in your general area. Neillsville up there to the north, we want you all to take shelter as well as this line continues to go eastward. This is the part of the storm right there. And Caitlin, if we want to stop it right on that last frame, that is the portion of the storm right here where this tornado not only confirmed, but confirmed to be doing some damage. And that is why they have gone considerable with it. They do not issue those lightly. And I will say it's one of the first I've seen here in the D.C. region since they went ahead and upgraded these warnings to include that. So
yeah, and they have because spotters have now seen a tornado in Poolesville. So spotter watched it pass just to the south of Poolesville, exactly where you would think it would be on that signature on radar. So the new tornado warning specifically for the confirmed tornado. Considerable threat because there's a tornado on the ground in Poolesville pushing off to the east. So to our newsroom listening, hopefully, to our broadcast right now, confirmed tornado on the ground in Poolesville, moving to the east. This is a tornado warning with a considerable threat, meaning this could damage property, this could threaten lives. It's a tornado on the ground. It is heading east from western Montgomery County and Poolesville towards Dawsonville, towards Germantown, if it holds together towards 270. So to anyone fielding calls or trying to get our reporters on this, that's a confirmed tornado now in Poolesville.
Yeah, and old Germantown, it's making a bullseye for you there in the old Germantown and then eventually Germantown as well. So with a confirmed tornado on the ground, folks, we're telling you, please, yeah, we know you don't listen to all of them, but we're telling you, please listen to this one. Seek shelter if you can, and if not, find somewhere where you can as this storm continues to push itself off to the east here. Again, basement if you got it. If not, you want to get yourself into an interior room of your house that's as windowless as possible, far away from windows, far away from doors, and as far into the interior as you possibly can. Again, this area right here, and they did confirm, spotters have confirmed that they have seen this tornado on the ground as it came through just to the south of the city of Poolesville. So it continues to push itself off to the east here. Dawsonville is in it, and it's on your doorstep right here. So we want you in shelter there in Dawsonville. And then as it continues to drift off to the east, we're warning folks again, Germantown, Maryland, old Germantown first, Germantown proper second. You guys will be within this warned area very, very shortly as it continues to push eastward. And again, it's essentially it's traveling more east than northeast. We've seen a lot of these storms drift off to the north and to the east earlier today. This one has sort of its own course. It's almost taking a more due easterly. And you can see those last few frames on the radar here out of Dulles, that it's almost heading due east towards Gaithersburg right there. So specifically Gaithersburg, areas just to the north of it, we want you in your shelter as fast as you can possibly get there as this confirmed tornado continues to drift itself off to the east. Downtown Darnestown, that should pass just to your north. You can likely hear the lightning and thunder from it, but you are officially just out of the warning. Now, if you're in one of the northern suburbs of Darnestown, in your shelter, please, as this continues to push itself off to the east.
Yeah, I'm going to get back onto our radar so we can get down to street level, Mike. Tornadic debris lofted up to 11,000 feet off of radar. That comes from the National Weather Service. So there's likely debris being strewn about in the Poolesville area from this tornado. I'm just trying to get down real close. I'm going to take off lightning. I'm going to pause this so we can show you exactly where this tornado would be, which is on top of Dawsonville, but this is crossing Route 28 in Maryland and moving due east towards Black Rock Mill, Route 118 in Maryland. So we're getting down real low because these are the communities this tornado is on top of you or moving towards you. You can see some of the more local roads and neighborhoods as well, and it's getting very close to Old Germantown. So, Mike, you said earlier, it's true, we don't often see this. This is actually a tornado, folks.
This is one of the few that we have seen them ever go considerable on, and this is one of the best radar signatures I've seen in our area in recent years. Certainly a nice little couplet there on radar. So Dawsonville, it is coming right for you, maybe just off to the north a little bit. We still want you taking shelter. Black Rock Mill, the circulation is likely going to pass just to your north there. So if you're just north of Black Rock Mill along Route 118, this circulation is heading for you. And then you see Germantown right here as well. So folks all around the Germantown area, we want you seeking shelter. Again, you only have a few more minutes before this continues to push off as it continues to move at about 20-25 miles per hour as it makes its journey over towards the 270 corridor here. So very, very, and it may be strengthening as well as we see lightning's jumped up to 14 strikes just within the last 15 minutes. So certainly signs of an intense circulation and an intense rotation coming right through western portions of Montgomery County.
And this is, I'm putting a tracker that goes far out on this, but because this storm has such a history and it has produced a tornado and it's over Poolesville, if you are anywhere east of this warning or even out of this warning, Dawsonville, Germantown, but then towards Gaithersburg and then even later towards Olney, this storm is headed for you. So take shelter. This is a considerable threat for a tornado on the ground here in Montgomery County. So anyone who's in the path of this storm, you need to shelter immediately. Enough has been confirmed with this tornado as the warning continues to go until further notice, 7:45, I believe, for this tornado that's on the ground near Poolesville. And I can zoom in a little bit closer because it looks like it on radar. You can see that hook. It's pretty well defined where there's rotation, where there's been debris lofted into the air. This is now firmly right over Dawsonville. You're taking a live look at Gaithersburg at our camera right there. It's pouring in Gaithersburg. They're not under the tornado warning. Well, they're just on the edge of the tornado warning, but I will tell you, Gaithersburg, this is headed right for you. It's moving due east through Montgomery County. So I'm going to put this on the last 15 minutes where you can see where it's headed, and that is due east through neighborhoods that extend from Darnestown, just north of Darnestown. So that would be Dawsonville and Black Rock Mill, across 118, across 124, across 270 towards Gaithersburg. So let's reset and just show you where we're at with our tornado warnings. We've got the two warnings right over Montgomery County, and both have, it seems, produced a tornado, one at least a tornado signature on radar. But the second one, and the one that we're most concerned about, a considerable tornado warning for an observed tornado on the ground near Poolesville. This goes until 7:45. Let me get you back to radar, and you can see exactly what we're dealing with. This is kind of on the southwestern side of the storm. That's just been updated, and really all they did was kind of condense that box. But it's still a tornado on the ground over Dawsonville, and it is moving off to the east. And this was first actually spotted over Leesburg and then confirmed on the ground over Poolesville. There's a lot of lightning now associated with this storm. There's a lot of rain, although, you know, we're still seeing that notch of inflow, which indicates where the tornado actually is. And that tornado, if it's still on the ground, is now just north and east of Route 28 there in Maryland, and it is moving towards Route 119 in between Germantown and Darnestown, and just trucking right along, headed for Gaithersburg there and some very populated communities up and down 270. So if you live along 270, anywhere from Clarksburg to Rockville, let's cast a wide net. You want to take shelter immediately. And then if you're east of 270, I would do the same, because this cell certainly has a history of holding together. We're starting to see some significant pictures that are coming through of clearly a tornado. This is from Lansdowne across the Potomac looking towards Poolesville. So clearly over Poolesville. A second spotter reported the tornado from the intersection of Route 28 and 117, which we were just showing. So in between 117 and 28 in Maryland, those are the two roads that you can see on radar right now. So I will pause and I will show you exactly where the tornado is. I can circle it for you right here and it is on the ground, and there is lightning, and there is some rain, but it's not wrapped up in rain, so it's easy to spot. And it is in between Route 28 and Route 117 in Montgomery County. Tornado on the ground. Has been for a while, or maybe it's been, coming up and down. They do that a lot. Touchdown, briefly touchdown, come back up. But I don't know. This one seems like it's been on the ground for a bit and producing debris. So this is just north and west of Darnestown, and this is moving due east at about 15 to 20 miles an hour, headed straight for Gaithersburg. And if I put a track on this, I can give you some more specific times. There's a lot of lightning with that. Clopper at 7:30. It's 7:24 right now, so at 7:30, bearing down on Clopper, and then at 7:32 Metropolitan Grove, 7:34 Gaithersburg. We're right on 270 there, 7:36 Montgomery Village, and 7:39 in Redland. So this is the area where the tornado is headed. It's 7:25, still plenty of time to go before sunset, and we're getting some pretty clear images of this tornado coming in over Poolesville. That's been easy to spot because it's still daylight, because it's not rain wrapped. But of course, if you're in this area, please do not go out and look at it. You want to keep your safety first and stay sheltered and shelter in place until the storm has passed. I would say the same thing for all these communities in the path of the storm that we have on the air right now. Please do take shelter as this is about to cross 270 within the next 10 minutes.
I'll tell you what, Caitlin, go ahead over the velocity on the Dulles radar, and you can see real well. This thing isn't weakening here in the short term. It still has a very nice defined area of rotation right here as it makes its way towards Gaithersburg. So from Germantown down to Gaithersburg, that's the area of greatest concern. Get in your shelters. We want you on the move here, but we're most concerned that that area is going to move right over downtown Gaithersburg within the next 5 minutes, more than likely. And I'll tell you what, we won't be able to show you just yet because we're in coverage at the moment, but we will be showing you images later of what looks like quite a tornado on the ground, at least when it was near Poolesville. It had quite the look to it here. So we want folks to certainly be taking this seriously as it pushes off to the east at about 20-25 miles per hour. So steady moving storm. It is just minutes away from downtown Gaithersburg and crossing 270 here. And if it continues, and it likely will be a warning that gets extended, given the rotational signatures that we're seeing come off the Dulles radar there, that folks in central portions of Montgomery County, we want you to kind of have the heads up and the early warning that we wouldn't be shocked at all if this warning gets extended over towards Olney, over towards Brookville. So folks out that way, start thinking, start making your plan of where you're going to go should this warning get issued farther off to the east as this storm continues its journey eastward here. So again, history, several tornadoes likely, and as Caitlin mentioned earlier, they typically do in these types of situations. It'll tighten, it'll drop, it'll go back up into the clouds, it'll tighten, and it'll drop once again. And that's likely what happened. We had reports of funnel clouds out near Leesburg as this storm was there, confirmed by the National Weather Service, and then several storm chasers near the town of Poolesville have confirmed that tornado on the ground, and they have sent in images that certainly have shown what looked like a pretty large tornado for this region on the ground there just to the south of Poolesville. And that is this rotation here. Maybe, Caitlin, broadening out just a little bit, which would be a good sign. But we're going to continue to monitor this as it pushes off to the east. It is that area of spin right there where the green, which is moving towards the radar, the red's moving away. So this area right here would be where the tornado is as it continues to push itself off to the east.
Yeah, we continue to watch this as we continue to get those warnings in. A brief break for the flood watch, but we'll get back to radar here and show you back to where our twin tornado warnings are, but really, truly, it's this considerable tornado warning over Poolesville. Well, it's now kind of east of Poolesville and Montgomery County and pushing off to the east. So I know we're kind of jostling a lot of things. We go between two different radars, the one out of Sterling, the one out of Dulles. This one's out of Dulles, and as Mike said, it kind of gives us a clearer picture of the tornado signature as it's now crossing 118, tornado on the ground. So I'm just going to say it's like a tornado on the ground. And the tornado is crossing Route 118 just south of Germantown and just north of Darnestown. So Looking at radar, the signature isn't losing its shape that much. It still tells me there's a tornado on the ground headed for Gaithersburg. The velocity signature, which we keep waffling between, is still quite strong. This is now just about north and west of Quince Orchard. So, you know, once we're getting really close to we're in some populated areas, but we were coming out of some not so populated areas. And so now these are a lot of people that we want to really take this warning very seriously.
And they did just extend it. So folks in Olney, we wanted you to know that they were likely going to extend this, and they did just go ahead and extend this considerable tornado warning to include much of central portions of Montgomery County. So we'll continue to go ahead and monitor this with you as it continues its journey off to the east. We're going to ask our producer if they can go ahead and change over to Max 2 for us. That will really help us out in this moment as we continue to track these storms for you. So let's drop Max 1. We're focused on Max 2 here. Caitlin will go ahead and give you the latest information.
Yeah, more to the east, I would say, at about 20 to 25 miles an hour. So I'm just going to hop back on and just show you this for a minute. This is a very significant velocity signature for us. So for our area, so north and west of Quince Orchard, and then off to the north and east, crossing Route 124, the community of Brown, and any other neighborhoods that are just west of Gaithersburg, and then moving off to the north and east and crossing 355, 270, and 124, and getting into downtown Gaithersburg. So looks like they just updated the tornado warning. Also, if we have our Gaithersburg camera, let's take a look at that, and we can see. Oh, I think this is another tornado warning.
Yeah, that looks up off to the north. That's up near Westminster, is it not? Let's go ahead, if we can, on our from our producing standpoint. We're going to pull back Max 1 for you so we can get you the latest info on this. But this is another area that we have to pay attention to up north of the town of Westminster.
Yeah, so Carroll County probably, right? Getting closer to Carroll County.
So that's getting up to the north near probably that same storm that was warned a little earlier today.
Yeah, and we do have our Gaithersburg camera that we are looking at right now. Thank you. And this is our Fox 5 Sky camera in Gaithersburg. And you can definitely see the lowering of the clouds indicating that storm system that is approaching. So we're looking at this on 270. And I'm assuming that we are looking off to the west. We could be looking more off to the northwest. But where this camera is, it's not raining heavily. It's raining somewhat, but not enough that I can't see. But I certainly can see the lowering of the cloud deck off to the horizon, and that's looking right into the heart of the storm. So that would be our latest tornado warning, where looks like the previous one was dropped, but that's just because the storms moved to the east. So if you are in Loudoun County, by the way, or western Montgomery County, the storm's passed. You're fine. Right. It has moved out of Poolesville. So it has moved out of Darnestown.
There's a total of 3 tornado warnings up for our area. 2 are north of Baltimore, 1 in Carroll County, 1 in Baltimore County, getting up into Hartford. But the one we're most concerned with right now is this one in central portions of Montgomery County. That is the one that has had, at times, a confirmed tornado on the ground with it. It is a considerable tornado warning, which I got to be honest, Caitlin, we almost never get those here. So we want folks to take it extremely seriously. If you live in the town of Olney, anywhere in central portions of Montgomery County, play it safe. I know sometimes these things go by and you're like, hey, nothing happened. We want you to play it safe regardless. All it takes is one mistake for it to be rather costly. So please get to your shelter. Pay very close attention to this one as it continues to drift itself eastward. It would be going right around Gaithersburg right now, Caitlin.
Yeah, it's right. It's right over the heart of 270, maybe just to the west of 270, but still, you're just south of downtown Germantown. You're in between 119 and 270. This is where the tornado would be, and it's actually right on the town of Clopper, and we had this in our tracker earlier, so the radar is doing a really good job of nailing where this is, where it's headed, what communities are in the path of this storm. So that is a tight velocity signature right over Clopper. That's where the tornado is, in between 119 and 124, moving due east. Again, confirmed tornado that was on the ground in Poolesville and continued to move eastward. There's many pictures that have indicated where that has been, and that is pushing off to the east towards Gaithersburg and 270. So crossing a major interstate in our area. That's where the rotation is, and if there's a tornado still on the ground, that's where it is. As Mike puts a track on this, this is going to soon be crossing over 270 and into more eastern sections of Montgomery County. So Brown and Claysville, I believe, is what I'm reading there on the map.
Claysville would be in the distance. So we're getting to some very localized community there with Brown. But you're right. I mean, it's right over Clopper at the moment. I did, just a couple of seconds ago, examine some of the radar data and certainly saw a debris ball signature near Poolsville when it was out there. Let's go ahead and peek and we can see if we see. I mean, the radar is indicating that there is stuff airborne that's not just rain. So at least sticks, leaves, other things. So this storm is strong enough that it is sending some debris aloft as it comes across. So please take this seriously, everybody. We wouldn't lie to you, we promise. We want everybody to take shelter as this storm continues its journey through central portions of Montgomery County. Certainly one of the strongest cells that we've seen so far this spring, Caitlin.
Yeah, and I mean, if anyone in the newsroom is listening and wants to tell us if they're hearing anything or if people are calling in and saying anything, let us know. We're only as good as what we've got from the National Weather Service, which is good. They relay storm spotter reports and emergency manager notes. But this, to me, is the most significant tornado I've ever seen in this area, and at least on radar and what I'm seeing. And it's an observed one on the ground, and so that's why we want everyone to take it very seriously. And Gaithersburg and points east.
We know folks' phones are going off. We want you to listen to it. If your phone's going off and telling you that there's a tornado warning, seek shelter immediately. This one does have a history with it, a nasty history as it came through portions of Loudoun and then through extreme western Montgomery County. They are getting reports of damage into the 911. I don't have details on that, but I can confirm from the emergency management out in Montgomery County that they are starting to get some 911 calls.
Yeah.
So please take this seriously, folks, as this at times confirmed tornado has continued to push itself off to the east.
So new update to the tornado warning, it looks like.
And that's the one north of Baltimore.
Okay.
So we'll head
still
on
going
back.
strong up in Baltimore, but this has been a wild day. Really, you know, some showers and storms that didn't look like it would produce too much rotation earlier today has flared up big time and produced a tornado that crossed from Leesburg.
That is
over
a
to Poolsville.
nasty hook, Caitlin, right there.
Yeah, let's get back to our street level radar and see if we can kind of zoom in a little bit closer to some of those communities. There we go. All right, so now we get down to the very low level street level because this is where the tornado is. This signature is not weakening. The velocity signature is not weakening, so this tells us there is still a tornado on the ground, and it is still very much an active threat. Coming out of Clopper, it would be right here in between where you see the red here on Travis Avenue, and then you see this orange and yellow coloring closer to Clopper, so it's really just this notch here right over 270, Game Preserve Road, Watkins Mill Road. This is just north of Brown, so Brown, Clopper, very small, more communities near the Gaithersburg area. But if there is a tornado on the ground, which it looks like there is, that's where it is, and it's crossing 270 and it's moving off to the north and east as we continue to show you some cameras coming from MDOT out of Gaithersburg area. Looks like 270 is what we're looking at on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, we are getting, and just know that this is always on the move, right? Of course, the storm's not pausing. We get radar updates about every 30 seconds to a minute on this particular radar. And you can see it may have just crossed over 270, now crossing 355 there as it works its way a little farther into central portions. Montgomery Village, this is heading right for you. You have a minute or two in Montgomery Village to get into your shelter, interior portion of your room, your basement. Please do that. We're begging you here at Fox 5. Please seek shelter as the storm comes across. It will come through very quickly, but we want you to please take proper precautions and take shelter. Again, Laytonsville, you'd be next up. So folks in Laytonsville, we want you to kind of have the heads up that this is heading in your direction. Claysville, Panthertown there, all folks that need to be seeking shelter ahead of this storm.
Yeah, and all these places that we're mentioning, you're either in the tornado warning or just outside of it. No, actually, you're all in the tornado warning. That's right. That was extended all the way to the border of Montgomery County. So all of these communities, Laytonsville, Brookville, Olney, Ashton, Redland, all of you are in the path of this tornado. We'll put a tracker on it, too, to give you the exact timing. But luckily, with these warnings, we're getting some decent lead time since we know that there was a tornado on the ground in Poolsville, and it's moving off to the north and east. So here's minute by minute what you can expect. 7:45, Montgomery Village. This tornado is bearing down on you in 5 minutes. You want to seek shelter. Laytonsville, 7:55. If we're still dealing with this, farther off to the north and east, 8:06 p.m., getting into some smaller towns, Sunshine, Roxbury Mills. So that's That's a little bit farther across Route 97 off to the north and east towards the border there, Montgomery and Howard counties. And that would be right over Montgomery Village, it looks like. Mike, are we getting a radar a velocity signature right there?
Looks like, and we're just about to get another update in from it. As the purple zone you see is data drop, so missed some of the areas as it went through last time. But there you go. You can see it would be just off to the north. In generally speaking, this area right in here. So
so this is from Clopper to Gaithersburg.
Cameras are also showing some ominous skies out that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at this image right now that we've got. This is just our Fox 5 Skycam.
Oh, yeah, and you can see. Can we take that full there? And,
that is impressive looking. I can almost see the whole supercell rotating.
Yeah, you can see the rotation within. Oh, clearly. That is a great view. In fact, if folks in TOC happen to be watching.
Oh, my gosh, I see debris.
If you can pull out on that, this is an excellent view of this storm as it goes through. If we can leave that full, I'm going to get complicated in the control room. If we can leave that full, put up a small radar, and you can almost see that funnel right in the middle, and you can see airborne debris. There you go. Right here, you have that tornado. You can see tornado. That is a tornado. That is on the ground. That is lifting debris airborne. So excellent job from our crew pulling this up as you have that tornado that's on the ground that just crossed 270 not that long ago. And look at all the emergency vehicles you see flying up 270 as well. So we just saw live here on Fox 5 that tornado cross right over 270 for you. So,
and we saw it creating, lifting debris high into the air, creating its own path of destruction as it crossed 270.
And you can still see it. It's still on the ground as it continues its way over. Look at that debris right there. Oh, there you go. So right here, you can see it. There's your tornado. Power flash.
Power surge.
My goodness. Power flash right there in Montgomery County. If you are in the path, let's get a small radar up here. If you are in the path of this storm, you need to seek shelter here, as we just saw power flashes live on our air. And there's another one as this tornado continues its journey through Montgomery County. Folks, this is a serious and potentially life-threatening tornado as it goes across. I know it doesn't look like the images you see out in Oklahoma and Kansas. They typically don't here, but it's the wind that does the damage. And you just saw down in that lower part of your screen some power flashes as this has gone across. New warning, new update from it. And we'll go ahead and get you the latest here. And they continue to kind of update that area. So they have kind of defined it a little bit more. Only you are still included within this warning zone. This is a confirmed tornado. It is on the ground. We just saw it. Considerable tornado on the ground until 8:15 p.m. Folks, please take this seriously. This is not a joke. And you can see that it kicked up once again. And this is likely what our camera caught right here as it crossed over Gaithersburg. It is very quickly pushing itself off to the east here and going to continue its journey. So it's going to pass right between Redland and Montgomery Village and head over towards Brookville. We want you guys, Brookville only, seek shelter now. You have time. Make sure you're seeking shelter now as this system comes off to the east. If we can continue to rotate that Gaithersburg camera off to the right, we can follow that storm as it starts pushing off a little bit farther to the east there.
Yeah, that storm is pushed off to the east. We've lost it on our Fox 5 Skycam. That was truly kind of terrifying to see because so many times around here you don't really expect to see tornadoes, but this is a confirmed tornado that has been on the ground for a while now. I mean, it's 7:45, Mike. I think this was shortly after 7:15 maybe. But in that image, you're seeing kind of what's behind the tornado now. We saw it rotating. We saw it lofting debris in the air. We saw several power surges due to lightning strikes. And right now, that hook, that tornado, which just crossed 270, you saw it on our Skycam, has now pushed off to the east, and it is right north and east of Gaithersburg. But it is a tornado on the move, and it is heading due east into more central sections of Montgomery County in between Laytonsville and Olney. That's where it's going. It's holding together. It's got a lot of lightning with it, too. We saw that on our camera as well. So if we have spun that camera, it looks like a little bit off to the east, I believe. You can't really see, per se a tornado at the moment.
No, you can still certainly
but-
see. A lot of times they cycle,
Yeah.
right? They get intense. They intensify. The tornado
Oh,
drops.
here we go.
Oh, there
Here
you
we
go.
go.
A little bit farther off to the east, and you can certainly see that rising motion.
Yeah.
But great shot of it there from our crew.
That is, if you focus in on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see where the tornado is because of the air that's rising from the ground, and I can literally see in real time the funnel cloud lowering to the ground. I mean, this is truly incredible. It's a little harder farther to the right. That looks like just rain, but it's hard to tell if maybe that's a wall cloud or something else lowering. But there is some rotation, and there is always the effect, like Mike said, with these funnel clouds and or tornadoes. Tornadoes touch the ground, funnel clouds do not, but either way, they will lower. They will then retreat back up into the cloud, into the supercell. Then they'll lower again and then retreat. So this can be a storm, that's not continually on the ground for 45 minutes straight, but it's pulsing. And so that looks to me, both on radar and what I'm actually looking at our Fox 5 Sky camera out of Gaithersburg, incredible what we're watching. So we are watching that storm now east of Gaithersburg, I believe. Mike.
Yeah, it's very quickly going to get out of the range of our cameras here, but excellent shout out to our crew. Well done there. As we take you back to radar here, let me pull lightning off, and you can still see. It looks like they just updated it. That is a different tornado warning. Still north of Baltimore. It's been rough up in Baltimore, but we're focused on this one close to the home here in Montgomery County. You can still see the hook there in Montgomery Village, and that's what we just witnessed live on our air as that cell went right across there, Caitlin. So folks in Claysville.
So right here.
Yeah.
So this is the tornado that you've been seeing both on radar and on the air with our Fox 5 Sky camera. It is still intact. The rotation is just east of Montgomery Village. It looks like it's about to cross 124 here in Maryland. So now you're getting closer into the communities of Laytonsville and Olney. It will likely move right in between them, but Laytonsville, Olney, Brookville, all within the path of the storm. You want to take shelter. We're seeing this cause damage. We're seeing this in real time produce debris. So this is a big threat to life and property. Please take shelter and take this seriously. There's also a lot of lightning. And you know what? If we can take Fox 5 Skycam full again, perhaps, because that looks pretty significant to me on the right-hand side of your camera.
Storm could strengthen. This is, again, mostly towards the top end of this tornado warn box. The I-95 area has not crossed over, at least not the tornadic portion of the storm has not crossed over. Certainly the heavy rain up towards Elkridge, it's downpour and you're getting some thunder and lightning, but the tornadic portion of this storm is still just off to your west.
Wow.
That would be this part of the storm near where you see the word Columbia, although downtown Columbia is a little bit farther to the south. But again, this area, 108 up to Route 100, that is where the storm's trying to cross at this time as it continues its journey off to the north and east. You can see there on velocity, it's still rotating.
A little bit.
It's not as strong as it was before, but it's certainly still rotating as it makes its way through Howard County.
Yeah, so just to show, this would be, east of Oakland Mills, not as strong as we've seen today, but we've seen some very strong velocity signatures. So it's still out there bisecting these roads, 100, 103, 175, and still showing up on our radar. So that's velocity. We'll go back to radar. And this is just really lagging behind the rest of the storm.
But you can still see that hook again right there. That's that rotation, broad rotation, mid-levels of the storm, and it's that tightening down at the base of the storm that could possibly produce a tornado that we continue to watch for you.
Yeah, so that is what has continued this tornado warning. If there is one, it's just to the east of Oakland Mills, and it's just south and east of the Columbia area. The overall movement of this storm is off to the north and east, and we are getting some heavy rain showing up now in between Catonsville and Severn, but firmly kind of right over Elkridge, and that's where the lightning is, although we've really seen the lightning decrease lately, which is also a good sign. But this is the storm that we've been tracking since 6:45, so almost 2 hours ago, over Leesburg, and it produced a tornado over Poolsville. It then produced a second one, same cell, but could have been a second tornado over Gaithersburg, and then possibly a third time in Howard County as we watch this storm now get to kind of the eastern side of the tornado warned box. But as Mike said, the actual tornado, if there's still one exists in the storm, is on the back side of this, so kind of lagging behind the rest of the storm.
Right, and this warning goes for just the next about 7 minutes here, set to expire at 8:45 unless it gets extended. Although if it does extend it, I'm not sure how long we'll stay on it, as that mostly gets into downtown Baltimore, the southern Baltimore portions, southern metro portions of Baltimore, excuse me. But that part of the storm continues its journey up past Columbia, heading towards Arbutus, and then eventually Lansdowne, Pumphrey, and then downtown Baltimore, if it does hold together by 8:57 p.m. But again, at this time, this warning, excuse me, is set to expire there at 8:45 p.m.
Okay, you know what? One thing I want to say, Mike, is we just, one of our reporters, Sierra Fox, so she actually went to Gaithersburg, and so she's where the tornado moved through, and she, I believe, is seeing some damage there. So as soon as we have Sierra, we do have Sierra. She is now live in Gaithersburg, with what looks like a very active scene behind her. Sierra, hi. I am really anxious to find out what you're seeing and what you've heard. Can you tell us exactly where you are and what's transpired?
Absolutely. Well, first off, I have to say, Caitlin and Mike, you guys are doing an amazing job. I've been watching your coverage. And Caitlin, when you said this is one of the most significant tornadoes you've ever seen in the DMV, that really struck me. But I want to tell you where I am right now. I am on Hudson Street in Gaithersburg, Maryland. As you mentioned, you can see it's such an active scene. It was really hard to actually get into this residential area because there's police blocking off the roads, obviously because of things like this right here that you see behind me. Down trees, you can see leaves, debris, just everywhere. You can see lots of neighbors outside their home. We're actually sadly trying to walk closer to a situation that we are believing to be a structured collapse where people may be trapped inside. We're working to confirm more details, but that's according to reports online. So as soon as we learn more, we'll update you. But right now I have Quinley. Hi, Quinley. How are you? I just met Quinley here, and this is her family, and she's going to tell me what exactly happened earlier.
Yeah, so we just saw a bunch of wind and a lot of water. We saw things in our own backyard just fly across into our neighbors. And then eventually when things settled down, we saw a whole lot of fire trucks, and that's when we started coming out to see what happened.
And you said you and your family were in your basement.
Yeah.
What were you guys doing down there?
We didn't know how extreme it would get, so we just went down when it got really bad.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what our meteorologists say to do. Shelter in place, so you did the right thing. And just, how are you feeling right now experiencing this?
I'm a little shocked seeing the amount of damage. We just saw things in our own backyard fall across, but then we saw trees on actual houses, and that's what made me really shocked.
And have you ever seen anything like this where you live?
Actually, about 12 years ago, there was a really big storm, and it was pretty much a really similar result where there's trees on cars, and we walked around and just saw the damage that it caused.
And now, what did you hear? And did you hear anything while this was transpiring? Because the tornado did touch down here in Gaithersburg.
I didn't know it actually touched down, but I did hear a loud boom. But other than that, nothing. Just a lot of rain and wind.
Well, Quinley, thank you so much for chatting with Fox 5. I'm glad to see that you and your family are safe out here. And do you know anything about what's going on up there?
There's a house that had a tree collapse onto it, and I believe some people did get injured, but other than that, I'm not too sure.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're going to walk up there right now to find out, so thank you so much. Nice to meet you. All right, so Kayla and Mike, we're going to make our way up the street, so I'll just let you guys follow me, and I'll tell you what we see. You can see we have Montgomery County Fire and Rescue here on scene, their special operations team. As we just heard, that there could be, down trees. We've seen that along the way. If you look at the ground, you can see sticks, debris, leaves, just everywhere. And again, people just outside their home trying to figure out what's going on. And one road specifically that is shut off right now that I want to let you guys know is Deer Park Drive. If you're heading towards Deer Park Drive here in Maryland, very, very difficult to navigate. And actually at each block, you'll see that there are officers guarding and protecting and blocking off the street. So it's very difficult to navigate. At this time, if you are out and about or know people who are trying to get home, it is best to avoid this area. It's a little loud out here. You can see fire trucks everywhere. We're seeing a lot of flashing lights. Washington Gas right here, obviously trying to pick up the pieces and help restore the damage. Oh, let's look at what's going on over here. Is that a tree down? It looks like it. Over here, and it looks like there's a family outside. Again, Washington Gas, but let's keep going up this way. There's a lot of lights over here. You can see there's a woman and her baby. They're just checking out what's going on. And again, according to reports online, we're seeing that there may be people trapped inside a home. So of course, hopefully they're okay. We're gonna go over on the sidewalk just because there's a lot of emergency vehicles coming and going in this area right now. So again, now we've counted 3 fire trucks. We see 4 Washington Gas vehicles out here. And again, traffic is really bad in this area right now, so that's why we're having to walk a ways. We had to park a ways away from the scene, but we're trying to get as close for our viewers to give you an up close and personal look at what's going on out here. Again, more downed trees and branches, as you see right in front of that house right here. Hello. This is the Montgomery County Fire Rescue Medical Ambulance bus right here. Okay, we're getting closer to what appears to be the main focus of what's happening out here. So let's keep walking. My photographer, Jerry Lawler, is doing a great job. I know it's a lot of walking, so I'm just gonna be by his side. Alrighty. So more ambulances out here. We see fire. I'm gonna ask if they could tell us anything what's going on. Hello, firefighters. We're live on Fox 5 right now. I was just wondering, could anyone tell us what's going on out here? I know you guys aren't the PIO,
We have our PIO on the scene.
Okay.
He's down the block.
Which PIO is on the scene?
PIO Pete Perringer.
Pete Perringer. Okay, perfect. Great. All right, Jerry. Thank you. You know, in the news, there are certain people in different departments that are allowed and supposed to speak with the media. So when they said PIO, that's a public information officer. So we're going to make our way down to try to find Pete to see what he could tell us about what's going on. Let's talk to these neighbors here. Hello, how are you? I'm with Fox 5. We're actually live on air right now.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what's going on out here?
No, I live about a block down. I didn't see much. I didn't hear anything either. I just came down. I got a couple texts from my friends saying, oh my God, are you okay? We heard a house fell down. That house, tree. And I was like, I didn't hear or see anything, but I'll go check. And then I walk out and I see all of this.
And what's going through your head seeing all this?
Honestly, I'm just hoping the family's okay. I heard there were 9 people and looks like everybody got out, so.
9 people inside a home?
Yes.
No.
Thankfully, looks like everyone got out. So I'm just hoping that they're doing okay, hoping that.
And so I'm assuming you saw the weather alerts, and do you know that a tornado did touch down here in Gaithersburg? What were you doing? Were you inside your home during that time? What did you see? What did you hear?
I was inside. I was kind of doing my own thing, so I didn't really see much. I just kept seeing the alerts and was just, okay, let me just stay inside and not go out where the tornado is.
That's the smart thing to do. And what's your name, sir?
Mario.
Mario, thank you so much for speaking with us. I appreciate it. We're going to head closer towards the scene to see what's going on. But thank you so much for that insight. I appreciate it. So you can see there, a lot of people know the right thing to do. Stay inside, duck. That's what a lot of people are saying here. And we're going to walk a little closer to the scene. As you just heard from Mario, he heard that maybe 9 people were trapped inside their home. We're waiting to confirm that from the public information officer here on scene. We're trying to find him right now. So for those of you who are just now joining us, we are here in Gaithersburg, Maryland. A tornado touched down here. You can see there's debris, leaves left behind. Hello, how are you guys? A lot of people, neighbors, monitoring, coming out to see what was going on. This isn't something you experience every day here in the DMV, of course. You can see there's utility crews, emergency crews out here to fix what's going on. A lot of time when there's strong winds, heavy rain, of course, there's electrical damage, potentially lights going out, damage to homes, trees falling, of course. All right, so let's go over to the sidewalk just to be safe here. Actually, there's no sidewalk. We don't want to step in these people's yard, but we'll just make our way this way, Jerry. Hello. Hello. Do you know where Pete Perringer is? The public information officer? Okay, we're going to keep making our way. Fire crew is just telling us to move out of the way here. Come this way? Okay. We're trying to stay out of the way.
They're getting ready to blow the breaker. You don't want.
What are they about to do?
They're getting ready to blow the breaker. You don't want to be standing there. Go
Got
this way.
it. And why are they doing that, sir?
If you go right down there, you'll get all your questions answered.
Okay, is Pete down there?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's what we're looking for. Thank you. All right, we're going to stay on this just so you guys can see what's going on out here. Alrighty, so I am still making my way to find Pete Perringer so we can get more details about what's going on out here. Hi, do you know where Pete Perringer is?
Sorry?
Do you know where Pete Perringer is?
If you go on this side of the fire truck, I think he's talking to a whole bunch of people.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So this is an active scene, so we're working to get more information, so you guys are along with me while we try to get details confirmed. All right. You see, there's kids out here. Right now, we're at the corner of Dogwood Drive and Tulip Drive. You can see debris on the ground. Hello. It looks like Pete is doing a press conference, so we're going to join right now.
Sure. So I'll make a general statement here for everybody. I'm still live with on NBC4, but at this point we have had what we believe a tornado has struck in this area of Deer Park. We're in Gaithersburg, just off of Summit Avenue near North Frederick Avenue. This all started, the storms rolled through probably the Poolsville area a little before 7 o'clock. There were a number of watches and warnings. We believe there were multiple tornadoes, Poolsville, Germantown, and Gaithersburg. And Alding, and we have had damage. In this particular neighborhood, not far from here, we're at Dogwood and Tulip. We've had 3 structures, one on Dogwood, one on Rolling Drive, and the other on Holly Drive. All 3 were trees struck a house. People were trapped. This one was the most significant as far as people trapped. We had 5 people in the home here on Dogwood. They were all removed by firefighters. Rescued by firefighters, and all 5 people have been transported to the hospital. One of them has traumatic injury. Again, this area has numerous wires down, debris in the roadway. We're still assessing the situation. And again, that's the latest here from Gaithersburg.
Do you have any other info on other regions in the county that were affected? Poolsville?
Yeah, so initially the warning was, the first warning was for northwest Montgomery County and Poolsville area, which we did have some pictures, in fact, of funnel clouds. I talked to some people during the storm, and they were hunkered down, and they did have some damage, none as significant as here. That continued, the storm apparently moved down towards the Soccerplex, Germantown area, continued to move towards Gaithersburg, a more populated area. And we have 3 homes in this neighborhood that have had significant damage. Again, people were trapped in all these houses. All this time, again, this is going into the 7:30, 7:45, and I believe the warning was extended to 8:15. All this time, there were also calls for lightning strikes, numerous car wrecks, wires down. Our communication center handled hundreds of calls in a relatively short period of time. But again, the most significant damage, as far as I know, that I've seen, is right here on Dogwood Street in Gaithersburg area.
Pete, let me ask you about the incident here. Is it the house behind you? Was it a tree down? Did the roof collapse? Did the structure collapse? What can you tell us about the particular incident?
Yeah, so if you look behind me there, that's the actually root structure there. Very large tree. Went through the center of the house, trapped some people. It looks like it was a bedroom. Of course, you can't tell the type of room it is now. They were trapped under there. A lot of debris. Our technical rescue team did come in here and were able to get them out along with the first responders from Gaithersburg. All of them had injuries. One had traumatic injury. But again, a very large tree crushed this house in this particular area. The other 2 homes nearby on Rolling Drive and Holly Drive, same fate, not as dramatic. We did rescue and remove some people from those homes as well, but I don't think that there were any serious injuries in those 2 instances. Otherwise, damage assessments are still being done, but I believe there's some in Olney area, up in the Poolsville, Germantown area, maybe some damage, but I'm not aware of any structure damages. You can go a couple blocks from here on North Frederick Avenue, in fact, see wires down and trees and debris along West Deer Park Road also, which is across Frederick Avenue.
Can you
As
say
far as,
anything?
as far as a traumatic injury, can you elaborate on the injury? That person was pinned down. Can you also say, was it the tree that pinned that person down or part of the house? What can you elaborate on that?
No, I can't really. I don't know. But the tree crushed the house, so the tree and the house were on top of these people.
Can you say anything about the extraction operation? Was there anything in particular you could tell us about that? About how the team got them out, how long it might have taken, what the assets, what it required?
So we had real good information from the get-go that people were trapped, the number of people, where they were trapped. So the first responders from the Gaithersburg station were able to get here very quickly. They were able to make some additional assessment, check the people, verified where they were. We did have assets from our technical rescue, which basically comes from Quince Orchard or Darnestown. So they have a rapid response to this area as well. They have a high level of expertise. They have lots of equipment. And they were able to get the people out relatively soon, maybe about 20 minutes. And again, we had the ambulance bus, I believe, is transporting them all to a local trauma center. Or at least one of them is going to a trauma center. Others are probably going to a local hospital. So, it went fairly smoothly, but we have the resources and we're able to accomplish that fairly quickly.
How many people were trapped?
5 people were in the house.
Five
They were all
people.
trapped, yeah.
Can you say anything?
In this particular house. The other 2 homes also had people trapped, not to this degree, but we assisted people out of the other 2 houses as well.
And their ages?
I don't have all that yet.
Okay. And did you say everyone was injured, or one person was pinned down? How many were rushed to the hospital?
All 5 were taken to the hospital. One had traumatic injuries, the other not so bad.
And could you say, forgive me if I missed this, but was this a tornado definitely touched down here, or was it heavy winds, or what do we know about what weather specifically caused this?
Yeah, I'm not a meteorologist, but we have to wait for them to assess it to determine that for sure. But we do have pictures of funnel clouds. The damage is indicative of what would be a tornado. And again, this is not the only spot where we have damage like this. I personally have a number of pictures of funnel clouds. So I don't know if it was the same storm or multiple funnel clouds, but again, we have pretty good reason to believe it was a tornado that hit this area.
You saw some of these?
No, I got pictures.
Oh, pictures, okay.
And you've been with fire and rescue for years. Just what's going through your head, seeing the damage out here?
Well, it's always, it has a huge impact on the community. Certainly, we're glad that everybody got out and is being taken care of. That's our main concern, everybody's safety. Now, I think there's a lot of danger as far as it's getting dark. There's lots of wires down, a lot of debris. It's a pretty dangerous situation for everyone, so we ask people to stay away from this area. But if you see a wire down, just treat it as it's live. I think that the people during the warnings were well timed and good information came out. Multiple platforms people were alerted. I talked to a few people in the Poolsville area. They were hunkered down in the basement, so people, did their due diligence and sheltered out. So these people really had nowhere to go on the first floor of this house. But again, I think people heeded the warnings, and it proved that to be the case.
So they were on the first floor.
Yeah.
2-story house? 1 story? Do you know?
I think it's just a 1-story house.
Story, yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say, or
No,
things our viewers need to know? We're actually live on Fox 5 right now.
All right, good. No, just the fact that right now, going forward, is very dangerous. I think because of the wires down and other debris. This neighborhood was particularly hard hit. We're still getting information in from other areas, Olney, Poolsville, Germantown in particular, even across Route 355, West Deer Park area had some damage that police officers were telling me about. But this area seems to be